Namaste. You see, every house I've ever walked into in India has at least one of these. A lemon and some chilies hanging by the thread at the entrance, shoes left outside the door, someone telling you not to cut your nails after dark. We've seen all these. Most of us have done these without ever asking why. And the answer we usually got was some version of it's bad luck or it's just aise hi hota aaya hai, how it's done. Here's the thought. I went back to the roots and actually looked into 10 of these, and almost every single one of them turned out to be something else entirely. Not superstition, engineering. See, before electricity, before pest control sprays, before air filters and lab tests, Indian households still had to solve all the same problems. Keep insects out, keep the air clean, keep people safe in the dark, keep food from going bad. The solutions were real. The delivery system was a story. Because a story gets repeated for generations while an instruction manual gets forgotten after one. So today, we are taking the costumes off. 10 of them, one at a time. Number 1, let's dive in. Lemon-chilli at the door, Nimbu Mirchi. Let's start with the most visible one. Walk past any shop or house, you will see it. A lemon with green chilies pushed through a thread, hanging at the entrance. The story is that this wards off evil eye, buri nazar, and keeps away particular form of negative energy as associated with goddess Lakshmi, who doesn't like negative energy. Here's what's actually happening. Both lemon and chili have natural insect repelling properties. The acidity in the lemon, the capsaicin in the chili, strung together right at the threshold where most insects would enter the house. This was Pest Control 101. And think about how well this system has worked. If you told someone hang citric acid and capsaicin at your door for a pest arrangement, nobody does that for even a single day. But tell them it protects the house from evil energy, it'll go on for generations without question. It's pest control that's got a backstory. Number 2, leaving your footwear at the door. This one's universal. No matter which part of India you're from, shoes come off at the door. The traditional explanation is that the home is pavitra space, a sacred space, and energetically separate from outside world. You see, footwear carries the outside in. That's not allowed to cross the threshold, not in an Indian household. Now, there's actually 3 separate things happening here, and all the 3 are real. First is microbial. The soles of your shoes carry an enormous amount of bacteria. Leave them at the door and most of that simply doesn't make it in. Perfect. Second is physical. Outdoor surfaces carry pesticide residue, road dust, chemical runoff. All of that transfers to your floor, exactly where small children sit and crawl. If your shoes walk it in, it's not hygienic. Third, and this one's more psychological, but this is just as real. That threshold, the dahliz as we call it, becomes a genuine mode switch. A physical action that tells your brain, outside is over, you're home now. One small habit, 3 separate problems solved at the same time every single day. And number 3, mango leaves, Torans at the door. They stay at the door for a second because there's another layer to this. During festivals and in a lot of homes, all year around, you'll see a string of mango leaves hung above the doorway, a toran as we call it. The traditional reason is that it brings prosperity into the home and wards off negative energy at the entrance. What it's actually doing, mango leaves are genuinely effective natural air purifiers. And think about where they are placed. Right above the door, the single highest traffic point for air entering your house. In the world with no air filtration systems, hanging a natural air purifier directly above your main entry point is actually a pretty elegant solution. It looks decorative, it's doing the same job as something you'd buy today for a few thousand rupees. Next is number 4, not sweeping the house after dark. See, you've ever picked up a broom in the evening in an Indian household? Someone has probably stopped you for doing that. Don't sweep after sunset. You'll sweep away Lakshmi, aka the wealth and the prosperity. The idea is that sweeping after dark sweeps away wealth and good fortune along with the dust. Now, think about it. What does evening light look like before electricity? Oil lamps, diyas, dim, flickering, one directional. It doesn't reach every corner. Sweeping in that kind of a light means sweeping almost blindly. Small coins, jewelry, grains, anything small on the floor, you genuinely could not see it, and you sweep it straight away with the dust. This rule wasn't about offending a goddess, it was don't accidentally throw away your own money in the dark. But try telling that to someone that every evening for 40 years, generations, tell them Lakshmi will leave instead, and it sticks immediately. And now on to the number 5, dahi shakkar, curd and sugar before travels or exams. This one almost everyone's done. Before an exam, before a long journey, someone in the house hands you curd with sugar for good luck. Ideally, curd cools the stomach, and if you are about to sit in heat, in traffic or in a train for hours, that matters. Sugar gives you a fast glucose hit, exactly what you need for sustained focus. Whether that's an exam or a long day of travel, this is pre-performance nutrition, timed perfectly, dressed as luck. And here's the thing, if your mom said, eat this, it'll help your blood sugar before the exam, would a nervous, distracted teenager actually follow it? Probably not. But it's for good luck. You eat it without thinking twice. The framing wasn't the point, compliance was the point. The Haldi ceremony. This next one is a bit different because the story here isn't it's actually something else. The story is the tradition was onto something real, but it's a little more complicated than people think. Before a wedding, the bride and the groom have turmeric paste applied on them, on their skin. The idea is that it purifies, brings beauty, brings blessings for what's ahead. Turmeric's active compound, curcumin, does have real, studied anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. There's genuine clinical research on curcumin helping with skin conditions, even things like radiation-related, skin damage and cancer treatments. So, the traditions picked up on something true about this plant. But here's where I want to be precise with you. Most of that strong clinical evidence comes from purified curcumin extract used in controlled sterile settings. The turmeric paste your family makes at home or you buy it at the grocery store, that's the real plant, but it's not the same as the lab grade extract. So the honest version in all of this is the tradition is built on a real property of the plant. The lab grade results and the kitchen version aren't identical, they're different. But the instinct that the turmeric does something for the skin, something good for the skin, that instinct was right. Thousands of years before anyone isolated curcumin in a lab. Alright, too much. Segment 7, next point is sleeping with your head facing north. Now this next one, I have to be very honest with you, because this is where a lot of channels would just keep the streak going. And I'm not going to do that. You've probably heard this in Vastu Shastra, you've told never to sleep with your head pointing north. That is the general idea. The belief is that it can invite illness or even worse. The explanation that gets repeated everywhere is that the human body has its own weak magnetic field and sleeping head north puts that opposition to the Earth's magnetic field, disturbing iron in your blood, affecting your sleep. It sounds scientific, it's repeated constantly, but when I actually went looking for the research behind this, the evidence is thin. It's mostly the Vastu explanation restarted using scientific sounding words without strong studies actually backing it up. So I'm not going to tell you this that actual engineering with the same confidence as the others. What I can tell you personally is that 6 examples in, this channel isn't going to pretend every tradition has a neat, provable explanation. Some genuinely don't, and that's okay. The other 9 on the list are solid. This one, the honest answer is we don't fully know. It could be a probable. Alright, let's move on to the 8th one. Avoiding the peepal tree at night. Here's another one in the same honest spirit, but this one has a genuinely fascinating piece of biology underneath it. Even if the popular explanation oversimplifies things, you've probably heard, don't sit under a peepal tree at night. Spirits gather there after dark. Well, the popular scientific explanation on this is that the peepal tree releases carbon dioxide at night, making the air around it dangerous for human inhalation. Here's what's actually true. The peepal tree does something almost no other plant does. It uses a different kind of photosynthesis where it absorbs and stores carbon dioxide at night and processes it during the day. It genuinely flips the breathing cycle compared to most plants conventionally. Is that enough to make the air dangerous at night in some special way? Probably not. Any plant releases some CO2 at night through normal respiration of theirs. But the people doing this reverse cycle and all, that's genuinely rare in the plant world. So maybe the real story isn't this tree is dangerous at night. Maybe it's someone a long time ago noticed this tree behaves differently than the other tree. And in a world without a word for reversed photosynthesis, the explanation that stuck was a story about spirits simply to avoid the tree in the vicinity. On to the 9th point. Eating on banana leaves. This one's my favorite. Back to a solid ground, this one. If you've been to a traditional South Indian meal or a big feast anywhere in India, you've eaten off a banana leaf for sure. The tradition says it's auspicious, good for festivals, good for big occasions. What's actually going on? Banana leaves contain polyphenols, the same category of antioxidant compounds found in a lot of healthy plant foods. And when hot food sits on that leaf, some of those compounds transfer into what you're eating. The leaf is also naturally antimicrobial. It adds flavor and aroma. It's completely biodegradable and no dishes to wash. So basically, one leaf, 4 different jobs. Better hygiene, an antioxidant boost, better flavor and 0 waste. All of something that grows on a tree you probably have nearby. This wasn't compromise because people didn't have plates. This was in a lot of ways better than having a plate. And on to the last one. Now we're talking about not cutting nails after dark. Okay, this started the whole video for me. You've heard it. Don't cut your nails at night. It's bad luck. It invites something bad into the house. Think about what night meant before electric lights. A flickering oil lamp, dim, one-directional, inconsistent. Now picture cutting your nails with a small sharp blade before nail cutters in that night. Clippings are flying off, landing somewhere you can't see, on the floor where someone walks barefoot, near the food. And the cutting itself, it's bad in bad light. With a sharp blade close to your fingers, it's something inviting risk. It wasn't fear, it was darkness. So, all in all, 10 things. Some of them were pest control, some were nutrition, some air purification, hygiene, safety in the dark. One we genuinely don't have a clean answer for. One was just really good botany, but none of them were random. That's the whole point. The people who built these habits were paying attention to things we've stopped noticing completely. Because we don't need to anymore. They had done our job for us. We have pest sprays, air purifiers, electric lights, lab tests, but the noticing itself, that's worth mentioning. That's what this channel is going to keep on doing. Taking the things we do without thinking and asking, was there a reason to do this back in the day? Traditions, we all keep following them. We've just maybe forgotten the reason they are meant for. I'm going back to my roots to connect and go back and bring the reason forward. Join me in my journey. Namaste.